Good evening on this Monday evening, Monday night, September 14th, 2020. And excuse this very casual attire that you see me in. I just got off work, and there is my work jacket. Just got off work. Put in a pretty long day today. And I went for a little stroll around the neighborhood with this new dog that we have here. And I was doing some thinking, because that's what I do a lot of the time when I go on walks and just at all times anyway. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me, clients have been reaching out to me because they want to work on their creative blocks. Keep hearing this catchphrase, the creative blocks. I feel like I have creative blocks. And a lot of people have good reason for that. And some people blame it on the pandemic. It's because of the economy. There's all kinds of reasons why people think they have creative blocks. And I made a video earlier this week about creative blocks, about how it's not actually like a block. It's more like your creative process is more like a mechanical clock, and you have to start the mechanism before it can run on its own momentum. And once it's running on its own momentum, then you don't have to think about it. And when you're not thinking, you are in a creative flow. When you're working and just doing it and you're rolling, then you're in a creative flow. So that's half of the equation. I'm going to give you the other half right now. The other half is your belief. And it's not the kind of belief where it's, I believe in myself. It's not like that. What I mean is the belief in your ideas. See, you have most people have tons of ideas that are going through their mind at all times and throughout the day. But they don't think that those ideas are good enough, either consciously or subconsciously. They don't think those ideas are good enough. So by the end of the day, they feel like they have this creative block, even though they just got bombarded with like 20 ideas. But why don't they think it's good enough? It's not self-esteem. It has nothing to do with that. They don't think it's good enough because of group psychology. But put that aside for a second, because before I talk about the group psychology of it, I want to talk about something from nothing. Most of the things that people enjoy in the world comes from nothing or begins as a really dumb idea. I was watching people passing out on roller coasters the other day. It was a compilation video of all these people just passing out on the slingshot ride, this roller coaster. And it started tripping me out, because all this money, all this labor, all this effort has been dumped into this industry of roller coasters. And when you boil down all of these elements to first matter, what is a roller coaster? Why was it created? It was created so that people can experience whee! It's for that. That's it. That's the whole purpose of roller coasters, and that is the whole purpose of their creation, invention, inception. Everyone just travels thousands of miles, pays all this money to go experience whee. And if roller coasters didn't exist, and you had no concept of what one was, and someone were to think of that idea and pitch it, it would sound like the dumbest idea in the world, because of how labor intensive it is and how expensive it is to build and how dangerous it is. So it sounds like a dumb idea to begin with. ASMR is another one of those things. When I first heard about ASMR, it took me forever to understand what it really is, because I didn't think it could be that basic. Like, you're going to crumple up, you make a video where you crumple up papers or you whisper, and that's the whole video. And people like the sound of that because they can fall asleep or it relaxes them or whatever. I couldn't believe it. But there's some really cracking or very, very active ASMR channels out there that have a lot of followers and people love it. And I myself, I'm not one of them. I get absolutely nothing from ASMR. But those are just some examples of how things either begin from a dumb idea or from virtually nothing at all. And anywhere you look, anywhere you point, you can close your eyes, you could point in any direction. You could go through your trash can. It's all businesses, because there's packaging, there's wrappers, there's paint. Somebody had to there's a business, there's a company that makes the ink or the paint for the wrappers, and that's somebody's job. That's many people's jobs. There's a president of that company. Even if you look down at the floor, someone installed these floorings. They sourced this granite or this hardwood from another company, and that company has employees, and all those employees have personal lives, and it's just a trip how much business actually goes on in the world, and how a lot of it is, well, floors are important, but a lot of the things McDonald's, when you look at McDonald's, is it really the best quality burger that money can buy? No, it's actually the worst quality burger money can buy. But it's the experience, it's the reliability. So now I'm going to move into the group psychology. This is a good segue, is using McDonald's. When you're in like a foreign country and you're not sure what to eat and you're hungry and you see a McDonald's, you know what you're going to get. It's consistent, it's familiar. That's how McDonald's grew to the most lucrative burger company in the world, using the shittiest ingredients in the world, because it creates the experience, the familiarity, the consistency, the branding. And so nowadays, what is dominating marketing is group psychology. So group psychology is the fact that most people feel more comfortable in groups. I'm not one of those people, but the average person feels more comfortable in groups. So let's say you have a craving for pastries. You want a ham and cheese croissant. You want the best ham and cheese croissant in the world, and a cup of coffee, some cream and sugar, and you want to enjoy this ham and cheese croissant and this cup of coffee. So you go to a street in town that has all these bakeries, and you see one bakery, and there's a long ass line. There's 20 people. Next door to that bakery, there's no line at all. You can walk right in and get your stuff and be on your way. The average person, most people, are going to join the line that has 20 people in it because they feel more comfortable in a group. They assume there must be something right about the line with the group, and there must be something wrong with the bakery that doesn't have any group there. So that's group psychology. People feel more comfortable in groups, and people feel more comfortable with familiarity. That's why if you notice on Instagram or YouTube and you see all these ads, the ads are more to bombard you with just showing you the product. Like the old school way of creating ads is to describe the product as much as possible and why it's so much better than the competition. You still see a little bit of that nowadays, but what you see more of is exposure marketing, which is just keep showing the product over and over and over and over again until it's familiar to people. Then when they go to buy something, they go to buy that product, they're going to choose the company that's the most familiar to them. It's even worked on me. Even though a second ago I just said I don't feel more comfortable in groups. But Geico, I chose Geico Insurance with the little gecko because I kept seeing the commercial, and then when I bought car insurance, I didn't feel like going through the headache of insurance. So I just went with Geico because that's what I see the most. So that's how exposure marketing works and group psychology works. And so what is the point of all this? It's just another component to clearing what people are calling creative blocks, is that just believe in your ideas. If you don't believe in your ideas, here's like how it works too. You have the ideas. It's just that you're not grasping them. And you don't grasp them because you don't believe in them. But it's like I could look down at my watch to check the time, but my mind's not actually grasping the time. It's just a motion that I go through, and then when I'm done, I feel satisfied because I think that, oh yeah, I did check what time it was. But I didn't, my mind didn't actually grasp that it's 9:12. So that's why it feels like a creative block, because your mind is not grasping the ideas that are present. Once you start to understand that your idea could be a hit, it very well could be a hit. You just don't know that. The only way that you would know that is the only time you're going to know that is when you put it out there and then you see the reaction. But I'm also, even though I say, I talk about packaging and I talk about just put it out there, who cares how good it is? That's to get the mechanism going. I do believe in substance. I do believe, yes, good packaging helps, and everybody loves great packaging. Everybody loves a great delivery system. But a lot of people definitely love substance too. You got to have the quality, but the quality you can get there. In the beginning, it's just about momentum, it's just about motion, and just even this video sort of sucks. But I'm doing that, and it's keeping the momentum going. And as you can see, like, everything's going through a restructuring, everything's going through a remodeling process here at Beyond Levels Hypnosis headquarters. So this is all placeholders. Like, this is not how the finished product is going to look, but this is how you generate momentum, is just by doing something first, even if it sucks, and then eventually you're going to get to that point where you are in that creative flow. Another thing is writers. When you look at writers, when you take the writing of a person, let's say I'm a writer, I'm an author, I write novellas, Lord of the Rings, and I'm really inspired on Monday. So I'm writing, I'm so inspired, I'm raptured, I'm channeling the angelic script from the Archangel Michael into this pen, and I'm writing this novella. I'm so inspired. So that's Monday. Now it's Tuesday, let's say. I feel uninspired. I'm depressed, this sucks, but I have a deadline, so I have to write. I don't feel like it, but I'm just doing it. When I show these two samples to the reader, the audience, they can't tell the difference. This is a real thing. They can't tell the difference from the stuff you wrote when you were inspired and raptured, and the stuff that you wrote when you didn't even feel like writing. That's what a professional is. And there's actually benefits to working creatively when you don't feel like it. And that is, on days where you are in rapture, you're inspired, you can create some really corny, cheesy stuff and think it's great. And I've done that before. So on days where you work and you don't feel inspired, that's a benefit, because you're not going to be laying it on so thick with the fluff, the corniness, and it'll be a little more down to earth, so that when you have the finished product, you have a nice combination of days that you are inspired and then days that you weren't. And it will end up balancing out. So you're not oozing with like this cringe. You're not oozing with cringe. And you're not totally boring either. So that's something to spark your creativity for this week. I hope it helps you. Look forward to a lot more content coming out here at Beyond Levels Hypnosis, because we're just getting started for the year 2021. Like 2020, I love chaos and crisis, and my heart goes out to victims of crisis. But for me, something about it really excites me. It really gives my life meaning, and I just enjoy it. Part of it is because I grew up watching a lot of dystopian movies, like sci-fi movies, so I feel like I'm kind of living in my own movie. That's another story, but anyway, I hope you guys were able to get some value out of this. If not, then well, thanks for watching anyway.